Hi, this is May. Welcome to Always Worshipper. This is my brand new YouTube channel. What we do here is that we channel the energy. Um, like channeling is basically that you get messages like from the universe or God or whatever force you believe in, like a lot, and through many sources. So what I do here is that I condense these messages in videos. And I send them through the collective via YouTube mainly, um, to basically talk about the energy. I read the cards and I talk about spirituality in like many perspectives and different topics. That depends on the energy. I normally read the energy in Spanish and English because I'm from Colombia and Spanish is basically my native language. But I also speak English, so I really like that, to connect with other people. Okay. So all my readings are meant to be timeless, meaning that if you find me like way in the future, um, but the message I'm speaking about here today resonates with you, well, it's kind of the idea, right? So you can follow me on Instagram at alwaysworshipper. I'm opening a TikTok account. I'm in the process of that. It's created already. If you want to follow me there, but there's no content yet, I'm working on it. All the links are like in my channel in case that you are wondering and stuff. But yeah, let's talk about what concerns us for today. So today is September the 20th as I'm recording this, but normally all my videos come with a certain delay. But we are approaching, if not today, actually, let me check because I do research, when I'm not sure about something, I research some information. So let's see. Okay, on Monday we will have the fall eclipse, Mabon. That's the name of the celebration in the wheel of the year and stuff. So I brought a little bit about that. I'm gonna speak about it swiftly, probably today. And I also want to talk about the Yod configuration. Yesterday, the reading I recorded yesterday that is already available in the channel. I channeled the pre-eclipse energy. So we talked deeply about the things that we can do to, work with the eclipse season or the particular solar eclipse that will be coming today, because technically I'll release this on Sunday. There's a lot of material about that if you want to check on that too. Normally when I recommend readings, I am doing this like starting today actually. In the video description, when I use resources from an outside source to bring you information, I leave the references, and also I'll start putting the recommended readings that I mentioned in my video, so you can check on them as well. Okay. So we're gonna talk a little bit about Mabon, in the fall equinox. About the Yod configuration, because during the eclipse, pre-eclipse reading energy that I was talking to you about, that concept came out, and it kind of caught my attention, but I ignored it. And today, today as I was walking on the street, I saw the word Yod, so it's relevant. So I researched something already, and I'm gonna read it for you, and everything will be, all the references and stuff will be in the video description. After I do that, and taking advantage of the beautiful sun, because you can see over there it's so shiny. I mean, normally I can't record during the afternoon because I'm working, but since today is kind of, one of my days off, uh, um, I wanted to record earlier so you can see the sun. And actually, it's really like a topic related because I have the sun here as well. It's about the solar eclipse and the energy and stuff. And tomorrow, on the 21st, of course, I'll channel energy because it's the solar eclipse, but it's also a new moon in the sign of Virgo. So yeah, it's gonna be something. And what else? Oh yeah, and more importantly, After I talk about the energy, the topics that I have in mind and everything, I'm gonna use this beauty. This is a French tarot. You see, love. I split the deck, love and desire. So actually, I think it's a channel message because I'm charging my tools as we're speaking now with the sun, and in the Egyptian tarot that I have, I got this card too. Like it flew from like the balcony, so to speak, because it's the balcony is sealed, so the card technically didn't fly away, but it flew back into my apartment. In the Egyptian tarot, and it was this card too. So I'm gonna set it apart, maybe so we can talk about it later. But yeah, this is a French tarot. I don't Eteilla, that's the name, but I don't speak French. I don't know. I don't even know if it's a French word really. But here, these are like the authenticity certificates, so to speak. So some people say that these cards were starting to be manufactured around 1790, but I believe that if this isn't from the 1800s, it's early 1900s. But I couldn't use it before because it had a really particular energy, and it was affecting me and my brother. So I had to cleanse it, and I spent pretty much 2 or 3 weeks just cleansing it so the energy can be removed. But since we're getting into the eclipse season and stuff, I think it's a good day to use it for the first time. Okay, I have an interpretation guide as well. Actually, you know what? Let me pause it so I can grab it, and we'll continue. Hi, I'm back. Here it is. Because the original book that I have that comes with the cards is in French. And guess what? I don't speak French. I only speak Spanish and English. So yeah, I found another like interpretation guide. So we'll see what the cards will have to bring to us. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's get started with Mabon. I think I'm gonna start with that topic. For this, I brought two books that I have about witchcraft and about magical practices and stuff. So the first one, I think it's really known, so many of you may know it. It's uh, like Wicca, a guide for the solitary practitioner by Scott Cunningham. I mean, for people who are starting in the spiritual path, I think this book is amazing because it's really eclectic and it's really basic to explain these concepts to someone who's just starting. And when I started, I bought it. I've had this book and this one, actually, the two of them. The other book I'm gonna use. This one is sort of got wet due to an accident. And the day it happened, I had to iron page by page because I didn't wanna the pages to be stuck, and so I had to, that's why it looks like this, but I don't care because it's so beautiful. This is one of the most amazing books I have. It's called The Inner Temple of Witchcraft, by Christopher Penczak. So I'll show you. So I mean, these books are like have so much information, and probably I'll use them later in the future in other videos. But I set apart like the topic of Mabon in the fall equinox. Now that we will approach the fall equinox on Monday, on the 22nd, according to what I searched here. If that's if that changes for somebody else, I mean, in your region or whatever, well, that's not on me. That's just the data I'm saying over there. So I'm gonna read about it so we can be a little aware of what's going on with the fall equinox and Mabon and stuff like that. But later in another video, I would definitely will talk about the wheel of the year and the days of power, so we can be more aware of. Actually, I have it here. Let me show you. I have many of these. I don't know how to call that in English. In Spanish, we call it manteles. So it has all the celebrations that we normally, like pagan celebrations, right? And Mabon is over here. Well, I don't know if you can see it, or here, right? It says that the fall equinox is between the 20th and the 23rd. Okay, so according to the information I researched, is in the 22nd, but yeah, I'm just saying. So let's get started with that. I'm going to start with this one, okay? So, Mabon. Mabon, circa September 21, is the autumn equinox, is the completion of the harvest begun at Lugnadash. I think Lugnadash is Litha. Oh no, sorry. Lugnadash is a whole other celebration. Sorry. uh, once again, day and night are equal, which is really interesting also because we are on the eclipse on the 21st with a new moon in Virgo, and we also have the fall equinox. So there's like three sort of major events when it comes to astronomy and astrology and stuff. So this energy is interesting. Um, Once again, day and night are equal, poised as the god prepares to leave his physical body and begin the great adventure into the unseen, toward renewal and rebirth of the goddess. Nature declines, draws back its bounty, ready for winter, and it's time to rest. The goddess nods in the weakening sun, through fire burns within her womb. She feels the presence of the god as he wanes. Okay, so basically, Mabon is like after the harvest, like when there's spring and the summer, and there's the harvest, like the period when the Mabon is that like period. I always forget this word, cosecha. Let me just. Sorry, harvest. So the period of harvest, we like take like the fruits and the things that we plant or whatever. But this is sort of like a time when we start getting sort of ready for winter, right? In Samhain, which is Halloween, October the 31st, uh, the veil thins, right, becomes thinner, and there's sort of a sacrifice, and that's with the god when it comes to Wicca, right? In Wicca they have the god and the goddess. He sort of dies, I think. I'm not an expert in that topic, and I'm not initiated in Wicca and stuff. I am more eclectic when it comes to my spirituality, but I find it interesting because in some way, like the god sort of dies, so to speak, and then you on December the wheel starts all over again because that's when the god is born. That's what another reason why also Christmas is in December or on December. No, in December. Sorry. And that. But yeah, this specific celebration is about like the harvest, and the god, and here it says, poised as the god prepares to leave his physical body and begin the great adventure into the unseen, toward renewal and rebirth of the goddess. Okay, this is coming from this book. Okay, a guide for the solitary practitioner. Okay, let's talk about this one. I love this book. Oh my god, the Inner Temple of Witchcraft. So I set apart also Mabon to talk about it like from another perspective. So, oh wait, where was it? Oh yeah, it's here. Let me. The second harvest is the fruit of or wine harvest. Let me start. Okay. The second harvest is the fruit or wine harvest on the fall equinox, named after the Celtic god Mabon who gets lost in the underworld. This is a time to journey to the dark. As we're approaching, Samhain, and like the veil becomes thinner and stuff, as I was saying before. So wine is one of the ways to open the magical passages between realms. Interesting. Myths of other harvest gods, particular those associated with wine, such as Dionysus, I think that's the name, are celebrated. Okay, wines it may be significant. I was actually thinking about drinking some wine, like earlier. So I'm gonna do that after recording with you. But anyway, that's about Maven. So remember, around like the 21st, 22nd, normally like between the 20th and the 22nd of September, we have Mabon. And this is about the harvest, like the second harvest of the year. And it's a time to prepare ourselves to go through the, like, through Samhain, Halloween and stuff. Okay, let's talk about the Yod configuration. Because again, when I was analyzing the eclipse yesterday, I found that concept there, but I didn't pay. I mean, again, it caught my attention, but I was like, yeah, whatever. But it was really curious that I saw it today on the street, and I was like, okay, we need to talk about this. So yeah, I'm gonna take this from a website. It's called astrostyle.com. As always, I'll leave the link. Yeah, let's talk about it because I don't know. I mean, I haven't read this. I'm just reading here with you guys so we can, learn. What is a yod in astrology? What the finger of God means in a birth chart? Do you believe in free will, fate, or both? A yod in astrology means your birth chart can indicate that you're here for a unique spiritual assignment. While we all have the power to choose a good part of our destiny, the birth chart is a map to some of the spiritual challenges. Sorry. To some of the spiritual challenges and assignments we may face in order to grow. What is the meaning of a yod in astrology? A small number of people are born with a rare formation in their astrology charts called a yod, also known as the finger of God or finger of fate. Do you know? Here it shows the picture, but I can show it to you. Like I think it's a painting where there's, the fingers are about to touch among the God, and I don't know what other. Let me search for that. I think it was painted by Miguel Angel. I know that in Spanish. I'm sorry. Just hold on. The creation of Adam. In that painting, um, there's God and there's, well, Adam about to touch. That's kind of the meaning. Okay. Um. So okay, let's go back to the. What is the meaning of Ayod in astrology? A small number of people are born with a rare formation in their astrology charts called Ayod, also known as the finger of God or finger of fate. The Yod in astrology is often found in the charts of people whose lives are colored by intensity and constant adjustment. The musician Prince had two Yods in his natal chart. Princess Diana and both of her sons, William and Harry, have birth charts with Yods. Okay, interesting. Okay, they explain like what does it look like in the chart. It kind of looks like a triangle or something. But honestly, I'm not an expert in astrology, and that's not what I'm here for today. So I'm gonna skip it. But anyway, I leave the links over there. So if you want to check on that information, if you're into astrology way more than I am, but I want to just know what the concept was. So, what does the yarn in astrology symbolize? A yacht in astrology is relatively rare and it can be seen as fated. In any chart, an inconjunction aspect is a challenge because the zodiac signs involved involved speak different languages by element, modality, and polarity. As such, they require flexibility, like living with a roommate who has radically different values, political leanings, and habits from yours. How does a yacht work? Since a yacht in astrology involves three or more planets, that potentially chaotic effect is multiplied and requires finesse to navigate. The natural tendency between planets in aspect is to look for a point of balance and compromise. The yacht's challenge is that the 150 degrees, bueno, sorry, bueno, I'm thinking in Spanish. Well, aspect connects zodiac signs with no common ground. Thus, there's no point of balance, creating a frustrating dynamic that seems progress or leaves the person feeling like every choice they make comes with a sacrifice. The yacht is also described as embodying a crisis in timing. Since the three zodiac signs involved speak different languages, when a yacht is activated, there are multiple distinct ways that the person can respond to a challenge. To resolve the tension, one or the two planets has to act in a manner that is contrary and uncomfortable to the nature of its sign. Okay, I'm gonna read this last part and then I'm gonna spread the cards. So, how do yacht bearers experience life? Yachts symbolize patterns in families that have lasted for generations. Carriers of the finger of fate can also feel insecure or have trouble expressing themselves. They may find themselves in unusual situations. People with yachts in their chart have a restlessness, a sense of their unique purpose, and a calling to be their authentic selves at any expense. The discomfort of a yacht tends to manifest more in the mental and emotional realms. Yacht people may always feel like some crucial misunderstanding or piece of information is missing. One that will help transcend the irritating sense that things are not quite as they should be. Okay, that kind of makes me think of the movie. I forgot the name in English. Divergente. Divergent? I think that's the name. Just checking. Yeah, Divergent. Kind of as if having a yacht configuration. I'm just learning the concept with you guys. Um, as if having a yacht configuration sets you apart or makes you special and makes you want to reach your authentic self and just being yourself at any circumstance or feeling like special for some reason. But I believe that there are some calculators that you can find on the internet to see if you have a yacht in your birth chart. You know, I'm just leaving the information out there so you can do your own research. I hope it helps. Okay, so let's move on. I'm gonna spread the cards. Oh my god, I'm so excited because this is the first time I've I'm using this. Okay, so I have my guide here. I'm gonna need you to be patient with me because some of the cards can be associated to tarot, and in that case, I'll try to interpret them for Lisa, but some others I need to check on the guide. Okay, so okay, these cards are really big. So, shuffling as I normally do may be a little complicated, but I'm going to try to do it like anyway. So, Spirit, what do we need to know about this? Mabon, Yod configuration reading, about the pre-solar eclipse reading, anything we need to know, like for our collective. Okay. Okay. These cards are really something. A couple of weeks ago, I tend to pick specific cards when they are associated to like the topic that I am trying to talk about. But remember that I actually am thinking about. Sorry, I'm thinking about one of the videos a couple of weeks ago that I was doing the pre-lunar eclipse reading. In one of those videos, um, I got one card because I split the deck twice and it wasn't the same card. So I talked about the card and I went through a mini rabbit hole just with one card. So I'm really excited and nervous to use this one. uh, okay, let's do one more. One more, Spirit. What do we need to know? What do we need to know for the English community with this pre-eclipse, reading? There we go. Okay, we'll accommodate them really quickly, so we can, so we can make this right. Oh my God! But before I start reading the cards, I want to show you something. Okay, this is a justice card. Okay. Uh, but do you see like all the colors? This deck is so beautiful, and even though it's so old, the cards look like they are new. It's really well preserved, and this has gone through hand by hand for many generations. That's why I'm telling you that it took so long for me to actually use it because I needed to cleanse the energy with it. But what I wanted to say here with the justice card, I'm gonna start with this card because we're already talking about it. But do you see the red in her dress and the blue and all the colors? I have a brother who's a graphic designer, and he explained to me once when I got them that this is really old because and look at the back. You see the details? Yeah. But what I'm saying is that he looked at the card and he looked at me and said, "These cards are super old, like really old." And I asked him why. How do you know that? Why? And he said to me that because of the way they were printed, because they used to make stencils, right? So for each color, you used to have a stencil, like for the red and the yellow and blue and stuff, and they go to print one by one, and that's how they built those cards. And I think it's really amazing. But let's talk about the justice now that we are on it. Okay, the justice card, Libra energy. Hi to all Libras. I'm a Libra too. So the justice card can talk about like it's the card of the lawyers and the judges. Hi to all people who went to law school, and I admire your work. I come from a family of lawyers. I always say that when I get this card because I think it's true. I admire your work. This can talk about like financial, not financial, like legal aspects, like going through a divorce or going through some process when it comes to stuff like that. Um, these can also talk about knowing what you deserve. Remember that it's important that to manifest what you deserve, you need to be aware of what you deserve, right? So it's important to be aware of our standards and to behave in a way that shows that we know what you deserve, what that we know what we deserve. Because we can say whatever, but if we don't behave in a way that is in match with that intention, well, the universe pays attention to that, to God or whoever. It doesn't matter, but they do. Okay. Something here that I want to bring that I learned recently in one of my Spanish decks is that each and every one of us, we all have an internal critic or judge, right? So, um, so it's important to take a look at ourselves and to understand what things we need to improve and stuff like that. I mean, it's part of life, but we need to be careful not to be so hard with our own critics. Because if we are, we can hurt ourselves, we can hurt our self-esteem, and we can really, mess ourselves up. So be careful with the how you criticize yourself, or how critical, or how I don't know, how much you criticize yourself, so it doesn't become toxic. Okay, let's get started with that. Let's talk about this one that I already spoke about. So desire and love, right? It came out like this. So love is in the reverse and desire is on top. Um, there's a particularity about these cards that we normally should interpret the part that came like in the upright, okay? But I'm doing it freestyle because it's kind of the energy that I'm feeling too, and I'm getting like adapted to the cards too. So I'm gonna do it freestyle. This is the first time I'm using it. So desire and love. The art is so beautiful. I mean, come on. So this came out in a Spanish reading before, like with the Egyptian tarot. Remember, I have them there in my balcony, as I was saying before. And this card, the love and desire, flew. Sorry, I have a new microphone and I'm trying to check if the background noise will still be heard. But this is my first video recording with this, so yeah, whatever. So in my balcony, I had in the Egyptian tarot this card, love and desire, and it flew away. So I think this is relevant for the energy. Remember that one thing is desire. Desire is one thing, and love is another thing. Okay. In some collectives, I've been channeling that there's a decision in love. For a masculine between two feminines, for a feminine between two masculines, take it as it resonates. But yeah, I think this can talk about like a conflict among those things. You can feel desire for someone, but desire isn't love. But you can also feel love for someone, but love isn't desire. The ideal, like, would be to have a balance, right? Someone who, like, there's a little love, but also there's a little desire, or there's lots of love, there's lots of desire, right? I'm not gonna go deeper on that, but yeah, that's kind of the energy that I'm feeling, okay? Actually, I want to relate this to you because I got a channel message here. Remember that I was saying the justice is about knowing what you deserve? It's related to love. Maybe you're getting justice, like you're getting what you deserve when it comes to love, you know? Now that we're in the topic, let's talk about this one. Marriage and union. You see, this is kind of like the Hierophant. I don't know if it is exactly, but I see it like the Hierophant because there's the priest, and there's the masculine, and there's the feminine, and there's union. So I'm gonna relate it to the Hierophant. But again, I'm interpreting some of them freestyle. I'll check on the meanings too. Like, and as I get more proficient with it, I think I'll give deeper meanings when it comes to each card. So, actually, it's really interesting. Let me just start with these three. You see, marriage, justice, and love. Mm, it's as if a union is getting closer to what you may expect. And I don't want to be one of those, like some other readings that said, yeah, you're going to get an offer, and yeah, blah, blah, blah. And all the videos are about that. Not criticizing, just saying. But yeah, it's kind of the vibe because knowing what you deserve, marriage and union with the Hierophant, I take it as I am taking it as the Hierophant, and there's love and desire. So the more we are aware of what we deserve, right? When it comes to love, when it comes to work, when it comes to any aspects, the more we align with what's meant for us. Okay? This can talk about a decision in love. I mean, take it as it resonates. For some of you, yes, there may be more than one option. For some of you, you're thinking about one person, and then maybe there's another person you have no idea who is like already in love with you and you don't even know. So, and this is general. But yeah, I think that's the main message. Like, focus on what you deserve and behave in a way that shows that you do. Okay? And that's how you attract what's meant for you. So yeah. Let's continue. um, okay, I want to talk about this. This kind of looks like the Two of Swords, falsehood, and friendship. It's like this, okay? Some of these cards are really dramatic. As I was taking a look at them, I was like, whoa. I mean, those cards may be like really, I mean, that happens to tarot too. Remember that oracle decks can be like really soft and really general when it comes to reading the energy, but tarot is way deeper, and it will like show you the things that you may not like to hear sometimes, but sometimes those are just simple warnings. Remember that all of this is a vision of the present, and from the present you make choices that dictate your future, right? But yeah, especially on this one, I think some of the cards are really like, you know. Let's continue. So the falsehood and friendship, this is card number 62. I'm gonna go ahead and read that with the, with the guide that I have. Just a moment, bear with me. But it's kind of like the Two of Swords. In the meantime, if you like what you're watching, you can always like, subscribe, help me out. I'm just starting here, but I've had views from the US and Australia and the UK, so thank you guys. Um, Two of Swords, yeah. So let's talk about, let's interpret it like from, it's in the upright. So I'm gonna take it from this side. Upright, friendship, attachment, affection, tenderness, benevolence, liking, affinity, attraction, rapport, relationship, intimacy, sympathy, interest, similarity, connection, and conformity. Oh no, sorry, it's in the back. It's in the back. I was thinking about friendship like this. No, it's in the back. It's in the backwards, in the reverse. So let's read the reverse side. I'm sorry. False or falsehood. Falsity, lies, imposture, duplicity, bad faith, calculated deceit, dissimulation, trick, or frauds. Okay, I'm gonna take this one too. 26. Actually, it's really interesting. 62 and then 26. You see? Like a mirror number, 62, 26. Interesting. Obstacle and betrayal. But in this case, obstacle came out on the upright. So, as I'm seeing the card in here, um, I was saying this before in a Spanish reading, and I want to bring it here. Be careful with the people around you. I'm not saying like become a paranoid person, and no, no. But remember that, I don't know. Let's talk about social media. Be calculated when you post things on social media, because people are watching your stories, but you don't know their intentions behind those. You can have so many eyes on you, but you don't even know what the other people's intentions are. Right? That's when it comes to falsehood. And talking about the obstacle with the same topic, like when you have a goal, it's important to basically to keep it to yourself until you start working on the goal, whatever that goal is, working out, a business, going back to college, whatever. That's on you. But for the first, you know like, I don't know, the time is relative, days, months, years, I don't know. For the time that you're working on that goal, try to keep it to yourself, and try not to share too much to others. Because first of all, I'm going to talk about this in the Witches Pyramid, which is a video I'll try to record really soon, because it's coming up a lot in my videos. One of the elements talks about to keep things silent when we're manifesting. It's like planting a seed, right? You need to keep it quiet so the seed can grow in its natural process, like with peace, with no other people's intentions, affecting the seed. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's kind of the message of these cards. Be careful, be calculated when you post on social media, with the information you share, especially with goals. If you have a goal, keep it to yourself, work on it, and the more you become confident and successful with your goal, then you can start sharing it to people who are close to you, maybe, so they can support you in your goal. And then when it's like a story of success, then you can show it to everybody. Okay, let's continue. Criticism, card number 56. Criticism, justified suspicion. Number 55, 55 and 56. They came up like next to the other. Okay, so remember that what I was saying before with the justice card about being your own critic. Like, yeah, try not to be so hard with your own critics. Remember that you're a beautiful human being living life and being amazing. So yeah, I mean, we all have our mistakes and the things that make us like not perfect, right? But also we have like a bunch of amazing qualities that we need to, there's something good about being your critic, but try not to take that criticism into an environment that will, affect your self-esteem, as an example. This can talk about criticism by other people, right? Going back to the goal thing, you know, when you're working on your dreams, people tend to criticize that. Maybe because some of them are not as brave as you are if you are in that place, because maybe they are not as brave as you are because you're working on your dreams and they're not. So they can start to criticize you just to make you feel bad and quit your dreams. There are people like that, and that's part of life. But we can 41, 41, 55, 555. Remember that all things are temporary. When I see that number, I always think about these two, these two shall pass. 555 can talk about changes and temporary things, okay? But yeah, going back to the criticism, remember that, yeah, I mean, don't be so hard on your own critics, and don't let other people's critics like affect you, because at the end of the day, their perception on you has nothing to do with you most of the time, okay? Justified suspicion. I put these two together because, again, I mean, remember what I was saying about like the social media and stuff? Yeah, be careful. Be careful. And also, if you there's something called I when I saw this, I thought of the word hunch, right? That's kind of your intuition. Sometimes we get those hunches. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I think hunch is the word. Or those things when you say like, something's wrong, or I shouldn't say this, or I should go. Like your intuition. That's a connection to your intuition, and most of the time those are justified, right? So the invitation, I think, is to listen to those hunches and those moments in which you say, something's off, maybe here. Okay, let's talk about this two. 61, separation, the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords can talk about heartbreak. Expectation, I think that's the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords can be like deceit, really complicated energy, to be honest, sneaky energy. But let's talk about the concepts: separation and expectation. Okay, separation, talking about soulmate connections. I'm gonna turn on the lights because it's the sun is setting. uh Hold on. Sorry. Oh my god, I look like a Dorito. Sorry. Let me work on the. I think it's better. So let's continue. So talking about separation, remember that for some deep soul connection, separation is required, right? So we can grow and become better. And if that person is meant for us, I mean, everything will come together as it's supposed to. Mm, but separation, I mean, since you're here, expectation, and I think about expecting or waiting, so that's why I put them together. Separation doesn't mean waiting for someone, right? We don't wait. Uh, some of us have learned that kind of the hard way because we don't wait for other people. I mean, remember that everybody has their own like choices and free will and stuff. So we don't put our lives on hold to wait for someone. That's something we don't do. What we when we are going through separation processes, and I'm talking specifically about the feminine scene here, feminine energy. Remember, not gender. Mm, these periods of separation don't mean waiting. What we do is that we put that love or that energy back into ourselves and start building our love from a self-love perspective, and we attract what's meant for us. If you're thinking about a specific person, I mean, remember that there's also free will. Some things are pre-written in our lives, but there's always free will. If the person you're thinking about doesn't chooses not to be with you, or you choose not to be with them and break the connection for some reason, that's execution of free will. Okay? What I'm saying is just during separation, we do not wait. We just continue living our lives and work on ourselves and become like work on our shadows, right? And we become so magnetic that we attract what's meant for us. If you're thinking about a specific person, can be that person in like in a better state or more evolved state, spiritually speaking, or this can be someone brand new. You know, that depends on you. Remember, this is general. Okay, card number 73. You see that here you see lovers here, but I'm gonna take it for this side because it says lack of organization. Oof. This is a repeat message from yesterday. Yesterday we were reviewing the page of cups with some other side tarot cards in that reading in the eclipse. And we were saying that sometimes we have so many ideas in our heads, but we lack the organization to bring them to reality, right? So it's important to like I don't know, let me give you an example. You have many ideas about a project, but you don't know where to start. You can take a board and write down all of your ideas like a brainstorming moment. Put your all of your ideas in a notebook or in like a board. I think boards are cooler because you can see it and it's for space and stuff, but I'm just saying it's an example. And then you can start correlating those ideas or organizing them like in a sequence if that's the way you need to work on, or if you need to correlate them to get a better pathway to like what to do with your idea or with your project. That's the invitation of that card, of those cards yesterday, and it's a repeat message because I'm getting it here too. Okay. Okay, these two cards are really interesting because first of all they came like next to the others. So uh number 19, misery, and number 20, race. So for these two, I'm gonna go to the guidebook to see what's that. um okay. So this one is sort of like the tower. It's kind of it says here it's similar to the tower. You see the lightning and the sort of tower, but it's this one is kind of falling and stuff. So well, in indigence, poverty, scarcity, need, necessity, stress, grief. Well, I'm not gonna take it from that part because oh wow, actually this is the tower. You see the tower, and this is the wheel of fortune. This is a repeat message. I'm getting this message a lot with you guys. This is specific for the English community because it's the Spanish community. They wouldn't understand this message. Uh, yesterday, or it wasn't yesterday. Yesterday I mentioned it in my reading, but it was some other time. I was walking on the street and I found this. You see, kind of looks like a wheel. So in my head, I got the wheel is about to spin. And yesterday I talked about it. And here is the wheel again. So this is the wheel of fortune, right? And this is the tower. Okay, so tower moments aren't all that bad, right? I mean, they're bad because some of those moments can really fuck us up. Can really, like mess us up somehow. But remember that these tower moments, sometimes, most of the time actually, uh, there's a blessing in disguise with all tower moments, right? Meaning that in the moment, this can look like it's really, fucked up. I'm sorry, I'm, like this, I'm saying bad words, but it's kind of how it's coming out. Um, but those moments aren't there to punish us, but they are there to redirect us where we are supposed to go, right? This is about the tower. But let's talk about the Wheel of Fortune because this one is like a super repeat message for you guys. So the wheel is about to spin. What I channeled yesterday with this card is that there's a decision in love, remember? We were talking about justice and love and desire, and there's I think there's a decision in love related to an union, right? And there's the Wheel of Fortune. So, but the wheel is about to spin. What does that mean? Remember that we are in eclipse season, and tomorrow's eclipse, the 21st eclipse, will be like really powerful for closing cycles and letting all things go. All patterns of behavior and thought, all connections, all jobs, all, that this is general. But this right now, we're talking about love because knowing what you deserve, love and desire, a marriage or a union, the wheel is about to spin. So I think there's a moment of judgment from God or the universe. Remember that just judgment doesn't happen like in a bad way. Judgment is for the divine forces. They are looking at you from above to understand what you're gonna do, not to judge you. Right? There's someone out there. This can be you. This can be someone you're connecting with. This is general. There's someone out there whose time to make a decision about an union is coming. It's running out and the wheel is about to spin, meaning that the universe will close the door really soon. Remember that this is a matter of free will, people. Some people will choose to stay where they are, some people will choose not to let some connections in, and that's fine. I mean, I'm talking specifically about the feminines. This is something that I said in the lunar eclipse reading. What that eclipse when I talked about Horus, I'm gonna leave it like in the recommended readings. That was one of the hardest and best readings I've done so far. And I said something like that over there that it says you cannot do anything about some other person's free will, right? I mean, it's their choice. There's nothing you can do about it. But the universe has some beautiful ways to overcompensate when it comes to that. You may want a specific person, right? You may want a specific union, right? But that doesn't mean that's the one you're gonna get because there's always free will, right? As I was saying before, some things are pre-written for us, but that doesn't mean we're gonna get them all. And there's also maybe a conflict among love and desire, right? I mean, but remember that if that person you're thinking about, or you, this is general, I'm not judging, I'm just saying, if someone's free will makes them not choose to like get into a sacred union with a soulmate, right? I don't know. The universe has some beautiful ways to overcompensate. Again, there may be someone even like better waiting for you out there and you don't even know about them. So relax, okay? Everything's gonna be okay. So thank you. Oh my god, this tarot is amazing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. technically in the eclipse. If you like, you can always like, subscribe, leave a comment. You can check on my accounts. I'm starting TikTok. I'll start placing videos sometime in the future over there. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.